What's happening with severe weather, because we're not quite out of it yet. You know, you still get the risk of severe weather, even though we have this nice little break kind of yesterday. Look at what we have going on in Minneapolis. By Thursday, you have thunderstorms returning. So look at this warm up too. You're going to be in the 80s, although Minneapolis, you've actually stayed pretty comfortable this whole time. Here's our next pattern change. So our jet stream has kind of evened out in the east, but we are going to see another little dip, a nice little swing, a little wave move across, and that's going to form that surface trough and that surface cold front. That's going to be what triggers this. Watch, from Miles City to Dickinson all the way to Rapid City on Wednesday, you have the risk of severe weather. It's mostly going to be damaging wind threat, a hail threat, because you are going to have some cooler air aloft. Not so much a tornadic threat in this case. But thunderstorms, sure, they're in the forecast on Thursday. Duluth, Minneapolis going to be wet. Thursday night, it moves into Chicago and most of Wisconsin. Chris.
And Kate, coming up, a state of emergency in...
Welcome back to Weather Center Live. You know, we're all watching the Gulf. This time of year, you're saying, why haven't we seen very much development in a while, right? Well, look at this area of thunderstorms. You look at this, you say, okay, this looks like a little suspicious, right? Well, it is an invest designated by the National Hurricane Center. 94L is the name of it, but there are big buts here, right? But there's only a 20% chance, 30% chance at a maximum of this developing because it's so close to Mexico. It's so close to land, so it's going to have that land interaction inhibiting some of that development. There's another big but here, and that is the fact that these models are taking it to the west and taking it to the northwest, not taking it out into the middle of those very warm Gulf waters. So the driving steering mechanisms here, not to mention the very high wind shear, not a favorable conditions for this to develop, right? But obviously it's something that we're going to watch because we do have weaker shear over the middle part of the Gulf and then over the Yucatan Peninsula. But where this is heading, it's heading to what looks to be a little bit of a tearing apart. See that? Look at the computer models. Pretty good agreement. That being said, some concerns here along the coast of Mexico where you could see a lot of that moisture and so possibility of some flooding there. We'll be keeping an eye out for that. But hey, this is good news whenever you see something in the Gulf and it's not heading to the U.S., right, Chris? Question. It's looking like such a soaker across Florida. We've got Monday, not bad, right? Today, it's going to be hot in Tampa because that front didn't clear, but that is exactly the culprit for what's going to happen later this week. Look at these thunderstorms returning to the forecast. Tampa, I know you've had record rainfall already this summer. You're like, enough is enough. Not going to happen. You're going to get some more. We do have some drought in South Florida, so there is a beneficial side to this. It's not going to be beneficial in some places that are not seeing drought, however. We are going to see some flooding, especially urban street flooding. We'll see if we get anything more than that. This is why. Look at this tropical moisture, remnants of Grace. Remember that short-lived tropical storm Grace? Yep, the remnants of that going to combine with that stalled out front. These fronts this time of year, they just don't have the energy to clear Florida. So they make their way south and then they fizzle out, and all they do is they leave behind the just energy and something to all that moisture grab onto in the atmosphere and grow into big tall thunderstorms, which is exactly what you don't want to see if you're going on vacation, Chris. Look at this by Wednesday. Widespread showers and thunderstorms.
All right, Kate, just watch out for those storms for sure. Coming up in depth on some big temperature changes that